right, mixing and mastering day 2. Hope you're doing all right, everybody. This is still weird. We're still figuring it out. All right. I'm actually recording this right after I did the first one, but you'll notice I've got pretty colors. I've got my lead vocals in pink because to like have them stand out. The guitars are all in the same color range. My bass, I think of purple as a low kind of deeper color. I decided that I'm about to put my drums all together on the same track anyway. So this is similar to the drummer, if you create a drummer up here. So whatever, I'm just going to do yellow for now. And I got my picatures and I change these from one bass or whatever it was. Just changed them around. Great. So we're going to get into mixing in a second and what's actually... You got the love I crave. How we can make this sound better. But first, we kind of got to... And I know we're like not getting to the mixing part right away. But we kind of want to get into some other stuff. So we've done this stuff. But this is kind of the whole issue. So, and this, unfortunately, like, part of this is music equipment costs money. Like, you can literally spend $2,000 on a pair of headphones. Now, you don't have to get an accurate picture of what's going on. But if you can't hear exactly what's going on, you're not mixing. You're not going to be able to mix and have it sound good in a bunch of different sources. And even when you do have nice headphones, so like these ones I have on now, are really great kind of industry standard headphones that people use to mix. But still, like especially with bass, I have to go check it in my car and other places. So, for example, the items on the left, the JBL Bluetooth speaker, and then Beats headphones, they're designed for listening. They sound really good. They make music sound really good, but they do some things. They change that it's not an accurate picture of the music. Whereas these are some Yamaha monitors, speaker monitors, and then on the bottom right is some Sony headphones. And both of these are kind of industry standard, but it's because they're flat. They don't color the sound at all. They don't change it at all, which means music doesn't sound as good on them. Like on my Bluetooth headphones versus the ones that I have on now, my Bluetooth headphones make things sound much better, but it's not accurate. So mixing on those would be a terrible idea. Okay, so this is where we actually get into mixing. So we've done these things, yada yada, and now we're going to get into actually mixing. So a lot of people put this in different ways. Some people have 6 steps and they're worded slightly differently, but this is what I've used. So balancing to start, just getting things in the right volumes for everything else. So let's start there and over to my Logic window. And let's just listen. We've heard the parts individually, and let's just listen to what might be a little too loud, a little too quiet, etc. You got the love I crave. Give it all to me, and don't be afraid. Hold me close as you I shall. It's getting close to the midnight hour. Hey, oh. Yeah, it's pretty well balanced, but this is mostly because there's 4 of them, but I could definitely use less guitar. So let's play it again and I'll kind of change it. Here's none. Right? Like we're missing the middle section. We need this stuff, but maybe there. Just so we're still getting the vocals. Yeah, and we'll want to mess with them individually as well. But when we're just starting, we're just kind of seeing what can come back. And usually you want to start with what you want to turn down instead of just what you want to turn up. That's just kind of a good general rule. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. You got the love maybe the snare could come up. You got the love I think we'll fix that in another way. So this snare, as we saw in the first video, is really quiet. But it's a nice sound. Here's with the overhead. So the overhead's got more of it in there. But instead of, so what I could do to try to even this out, because there's this one moment where they hit the actual drum. That's really loud. What I could try to do is compress it within an inch of its life to somehow make this and this roughly the same volume. What I could do instead is what's called automate it. So what automation is doing is automatically moving it. So I'm going to create a little bump here. I'm just going to bump these up. Now I don't want them to be as loud as that, but I think I just want to balance it out a little bit more. Versus, turn it off. Oh wait, it's still at 5. And on. Yeah, okay. And then it's going to come down for this, and then I could bring it back up. Could match the 5.7. Bloop, bloop. Whatever, that's fine. And I could do the same thing over here again, so the snare isn't suddenly loud when it hits that. Cool. So now I'm boosting these up a little bit. I could copy that over to the overheads. The love I crave, give it all to me. Yeah, it's just got a little more of that backbeat that you would maybe nod your head to. When I'm looking and listening to the track, the vocals also have, and you can even see it in the waveform. Oh, I spoke about this in the first video. We're way quieter right here. Now you want to always mix by ear, like, you know, if it didn't sound quieter. Give it all to me and don't be afraid. He's just like, he's just not quite there compared to other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump this and don't be afraid, whatever it is. Me and don't be afraid. Yeah, maybe I'm going to let this come off as he does that. Me and don't be afraid. No. Me and don't be afraid. Hold me close as a you I shall. These could use a little bump too. Maybe not that much, and a lot of people will do this, especially for vocals. They'll do this like every little turn up and down the track. Something that, so what automation is recreating is what used to happen in the old days. And I know I've said this in my sound engineering class, but you would take your faders on your mixer and you'd actually mix them. So you might have 3 people at this huge mixing board. And what you would do is you would literally move the faders in order to get your mix as it went. So what automation is just changing that automatically. So if I open my mix window and watch my vocals loud, and now it did it too. Hold me close as a you I shall. So it's just automatically moving that fader to do whatever you want, really. So you can do this with volume, but you can also do this with panning. If I pull up a synthesizer, for example, let's do that. I could even automate the decay of the bell of the keyboard, or all of this stuff. And it gets even more crazy on an actual synth. So you can automate all sorts of stuff, but especially with volume, it's a good way to attack those problems. I'm still probably going to compress this vocal to make sure it's nice and even, especially some of this stuff at the end. To the midnight hour. Like this hour. I'm going to fix that now. The hour is way too loud. And it shouldn't even, like, just phrase-wise, musically, doesn't make sense to be the loudest note in that phrase. So let's see if that's better. To the midnight hour. Hey. Maybe a little less. To the midnight hour. Hey. Oh. Yeah. So automation, good place to start. So I'm not just compressing stuff right away. Yeah, when you find yourself struggling to hear certain things. I think this electric guitar with these swells, I really like these swells. So I might give those a little more when they're quiet. Let's turn it way up and see what happens. The love I crave, give it all to me. Yeah. So anyway, you could do this in all sorts of places. This is balancing. So all of this is in this first section of balancing. Compression we could get into, but I think this video is long enough already. That's part of what I'm figuring out here is how long should these videos be? We're at 12 minutes.